So Allah records the story of Nuh alayhi salam, and I'm going to connect it to the khutbah in a minute, but just some background. Nuh alayhi salam gives da'wah to his people for 950 years. 950 years. You imagine 950 years of da'wah? How many converts? Only a little more than 80. That means if you took 950 years and divided them by 80 converts, you imagine entire decades would pass where Nuh alayhi salam would not have a single person accept his message. On top of that, he wasn't just rejected in regards to his message, he was humiliated. He was mocked by his people. They called him disgusting. They would dust their thobes around him. You know, like, get away from us. You smell bad. We're sick of you. We don't want to hear you. They mocked him and mocked him and mocked him. And Surah Nuh is very interesting in that it's a plea, it's a very emotional plea, subhanAllah. It starts with Nuh alayhi salam saying, Ya Allah, I've tried everything with these people. And Nuh alayhi salam is making his case to Allah as to why his dua is going to end the way that it's going to end. Ya Allah, for 950 years I've been calling on you to guide these people. I've been calling on you to forgive these people. I've been calling on you to spare these people. And the end of this surah is really alarming. Nuh, the prophet, prays against his people. He says, destroy each and every single one of them, because if you leave them on this earth, then their offspring will be just as corrupt as them, will be tainted by what they have introduced and innovated into this earth. Don't spare a single one of these people, right? Only spare the believers, but take away this batch of people that have introduced into the earth what was never introduced to it before. But before he gets there, what does he do? He builds his case. He says, Ya Allah, here's how this da'wah started. Here's how I started with them. I called upon them. I said to them, listen, I'm coming to you for you. I'm here for your sake. I've been sent to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm just telling you that if you believe, يَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ مِنْ ذُنُوبِكُمْ, He will forgive you. وَيُؤَخِّرْكُمْ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. So he first promises his people what? Goodness in the dunya or goodness in the hereafter? Goodness in this life or goodness in the hereafter, in the next? The next. This is what I want you to pay attention to. He starts off with what the call of a prophet should be. The call of a prophet is not that believe in me and the richness of this world will come to you. When the Prophet ﷺ started on Safa, the Prophet ﷺ did not stand on Safa and promise the people of Mecca, listen, if you believe in me, I'm going to turn Mecca into a world-class city. For the rest of the history of this world, Mecca will be the center of the world. People will come from all over. Pilgrims will come to it. They'll make tawaf around this Kaaba. Your names will be immortalized in this world because people will say, radiyallahu anhu, may God be pleased with you every time they mention your name. I'm going to promise you everything. You imagine if Abu Jahl knew what Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu would be spoken about like in 2021. And if Abu Jahl in 5 or in 610 could see what the legacy of Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu has become in 2021, Abu Jahl would say, sign me up. I'll take that. I'll be mentioned in, by billions of people for the rest of the existence of the world. I'll be honored and people will pray for me and people will write books about me. I like that. The Prophet ﷺ didn't call with that. He started off with what? Belief in Allah. And I am promising you something of the hereafter. Why? Because again, that is the core of the message. The core of the message is that this is a message that orients you towards al-akhirah, orients you towards the hereafter. Right? It's the opposite of the prosperity doctrine when a preacher with his private jets stands up and says, believe, and one day you'll have what I have. Right? And of course you'll have what I have by putting money into this bucket. And one day, right? And if you're not getting it, that means that God doesn't like you like He likes me. Right? That's the prosperity doctrine. Right? It's the opposite. The Prophet started off with believe in God, and when you meet Him in the hereafter, what He has prepared for you will be good. Now here's the interesting thing. You then watch how this dua plays out of Nuh alayhi salam. Nuh alayhi salam says, all that earned me was ridicule. All that earned me was mockery. And Nuh alayhi salam says that when he, in the course of pleading with his people, why did they reject him? Because they wanted the power of this world. Right? Now, subhanAllah, when the Prophet ﷺ was speaking to the different tribes, there was one tribe, very interesting tribe, that said to the Prophet ﷺ, when he was trying to find someone to host him, they said, okay, the chief of that tribe said, look, I see in this man some character